Hello friends, I'm Jonah Loeb and today's subject is the design of the Deathclaw. In my last video, The Deathclaw is Perfect Part 1, we discussed how the anatomy of the Deathclaw made it the perfect predator for a post-nuclear wasteland. Thank you for watching that. Your comments were fantastic. I read every single one of them. And yet, truly successful creature design is about more than just the anatomy. Yes, you can combine physical traits to create believable characters and creatures, and this is the foundation of creature design. But how do you make those creatures special, memorable, and iconic? Today we're talking about the artistry of creature design. I believe that the Fallout 4 Deathclaw is my greatest creature creation. And today I want to talk to you about my goals, my inspirations, and how exactly I employed the principles of art itself and character design itself to create something special. Here are the 5 artistic decisions that went into the Deathclaw's creation. Personality, silhouette, color and pattern, inspiration, and Floetry, a term that I'll explain more of when we get there. I'll also be giving away that prize we talked about last time. I'll give you a sneak peek at a large-scale 3D print of a Deathclaw that I'm making with artist James Marsano. And yes, we'll be talking about the Deathclaw fan art out there. Yep, that fan art, because there's a lot of it. And I think it's time that we had a little talk. But first, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. If you're watching this, you are a dreamer, an artist, a storyteller, a world builder, or a gamer. The purpose of this channel is to inspire and to inform, and this channel is for you. I aim to do a lot more breakdowns like this one today, not just of my art, like the dragons, the giants, the jogger, the mirelurks, the feral ghouls, etc., but also pop culture icons like aliens and the Predator, Pennywise the Dancing Clown, Godzilla, Jack Skellington, and so on. And in the months to come, I'm going to show you my debut graphic novel, Quiet Level 1. One day this will be a video game, a movie, a series on Netflix, but for right now, shh, it's just for us. Okay, let's begin. Personality. Let's talk about the Deathclaw's personality and where that comes from. As a character artist, I always start the process of creation with personality first and foremost in my mind. The giants in Skyrim were noble and peaceful. I based their look on my dad. The Spriggan were ethereal and creepy. The feral ghouls in Fallout 3 were repulsive yet pitiful. And Preston Garvey's outfit was...
Another settlement has sent word that they need our help.
Humans are always searching for emotional connection. This is why we tend to love mammals more than any other groups, because their emotions seem most similar to ours, and they can express these emotions in ways that we can somewhat understand. If fish had eyebrows and could smile, we probably wouldn't be so cavalier about eating them.
Remember, fish are friends.
Not food. Bye.
The eyes and the mouth. That's where human audiences look to find emotional connection most. Many reptiles appear to be smiling because of the shape of their jaws. If I'd gone that route for the Deathclaw and included the popping, individually rotating eyes of a chameleon, the Deathclaws might have looked gleeful and insane. And that would be honestly pretty awesome, but that just isn't their vibe. The Deathclaws have a trademark scowl, their mouths turned down, not in like a disapproving frown like chameleons, but like the maw of a pit bull or a lion. Their eyes are hooded like those of an eagle. This keeps the sun out of their eyes and makes them look mean without actually adding those frowning eyebrow shapes you so often see in monster movies. I should note that the show appears to have added the frowning eyebrow shapes back in. While I don't totally love this decision, I'm hoping that they did this to increase the emotional range of the Deathclaw and leave the door open for a more empathetic Deathclaw at some point in the future. As for the eyes themselves, I was copying the yellow eyes of a lion stalking its prey, pupilless, assessing with a deadly calm. The Deathclaw is in control, and when it looks at you, it's because you're food. Lastly, this hungry, commanding gaze is also attractive to some people in general, but we'll get to that in a bit. Silhouette. What can we learn from studying the silhouette of the Deathclaw? As it happens a whole lot. If you've seen my video, The 5 Questions of Creature Design, then you already know that a creature's silhouette and body shape tell us a great deal about what they are and how they move. A rhinoceros is shaped like a 2-ton battering ram with a spike on one end. This tells you everything you need to know. The S shape of a serpent promises fast, coiling movement. Zombies can appear asymmetrical and drooping. This tells us they are slow and shambling and not especially strong. Even small differences can inform. Let's look at Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween's Michael Myers. These icons of horror are in some ways a lot alike. They're both hulking, 300-pound male killers wearing masks. But while both silhouettes promise strength, Leatherface's silhouette is disheveled and chaotic while Michael Myers is monolithic. One of these guys will sprint after you madly while the other one will simply walk toward you and never stop. Deathclaws need to be large and strong enough to overpower anything, but they also need to be fast enough to catch that anything. I made them big, but not very thick, depending on, who you ask. Because then they'd look slow like Godzilla, who's built like a sumo wrestler. Every time I added mass in one dimension, I shaved it off of another. Take a look at the hugeness of the back, and then look at the relatively narrow rib cage and shoulders. Look at the legs, which are big from the side and narrow from the front. I did this everywhere I could, adding power and speed at the same time. Their silhouette is long and serpentine and muscular, the silhouette of a strong and fast-moving dinosaur. The last thing I did with the silhouette was maximize the crest on their back to create a sense of even greater size. You can draw a straight line from the crest all the way down their arms to their claws. A visual trick that makes it look like their arms start all the way up here. This also means that when they see you, their silhouette changes from, oh shit, to, oh shit. Oh, and about that crest. Those plates curve, don't they? As if they're bent back by sheer speed. And what do they remind you of? If you answered buzzsaw, well, that wasn't a mistake. Inspiration. Good ideas don't arrive in a vacuum. The best writers are avid readers. The best filmmakers watch movies all the time, and you won't find a worthy game developer who doesn't play other games. We draw inspiration from the world around us, we remix it in our heads, and with that remix, we build something new. As a creator of fantasy, I look everywhere for inspiration. So, what was I looking at when I created the Deathclaw? I did not look at chameleons as much as you might expect. With independent eye movement, bifurcated claws, long tongues, prehensile tails, and the ability to change their colors, chameleons are definitely one of my favorite animals. But they're honestly a bit too cute for our purposes. In my headcanon, I decided that it was the unique genetic malleability of the chameleon that made their DNA the ideal foundation upon which to build, not their cuteness. Instead, I looked at alligators for their lipless jaws and teeth and the shape of their tails. I studied all kinds of lizards, especially the desert kinds, for their scales and armor plating. I studied Komodo dragons, which are the largest lizards in the world, and looked at their weight and their baggy skin. I looked at pythons for their tongues. I studied rhinoceros for their folded armor, and used bulls for their horns and their blunt, flared nostrils. I referenced the eyes and mouths of lions, and I looked at velociraptors for their iconic, oversized toe claw. Fun fact, it was the book The Making of Jurassic Park that convinced me that maybe, just maybe, I could pursue my dreams and make monsters for a living. And then there were, of course, the fictional creatures. The most obvious of these is the Balrog, which influenced the integrated horn structure. My friend / enemy, Dennis, you might remember him from my Skyrim documentary, made the werewolves in that game, and the high-backed, long-armed aesthetic inspired me to expand the Deathclaw's reach. And the biggest inspiration of all was, of course, the Rancor from Star Wars. P.S. Talk about an emotional connection with your audience. Not only was this battle entertaining, the Rancor slow, dim-witted, and terrifying, but the aftermath with the Rancor trainer crying implied so much backstory. Oh, and PPS. When Fallout 4 finally came out, I tweeted the legendary Phil Tippett, the guy who made the Rancor, and I let him know that the Fallout 4 Deathclaw was heavily inspired by his creation. He wrote back and told me the Rancor was a cross between a bear and a potato. And then he had his assistant send me a poster. It was awesome. Coloring and pattern. With its long claws and twisting horns, the Deathclaw already has trademark aspects, but color and pattern can go a long way in character art. There are dozens of kaiju movies, but this distinctive pattern makes Del Toro's kaiju iconic. Real animals get their coloring through evolution, and that coloring can tell us a great deal about where it's from. Creature designers use coloring and pattern to make costumes. And the best costumes are on superheroes. Look at this. Look how little information, just a few shapes and colors, is required for you to immediately recognize every one of these heroes. Batman is black and gray with ears. Superman is red and blue with a pentagon. The Hulk is green and purple, and Spider-Man is red and blue with white eyes. You can slap these aspects on anything, and the audience will immediately recognize the reference. That is iconic design. And for iconic design to work, it must be simple. Until recently, the Deathclaw was almost entirely brown. I could have kept it brown in Fallout 4, but I wanted a few elements to stand out. I made the bony plates darker than its skin. This helps them stand out, and it sends the message to the audience that the armored portions are made of different stuff. This two-tone treatment became my palette. I applied this palette loosely and naturally across the body. This is coloring via evolution, implying that the pale portions are soft and the black portions are hard for defense. But now look at the face. As small as they were, I wanted those little yellow eyes to pop. So I pulled the black skin down around them while leaving the nose and mouth pale. Why? Two reasons. One, because like Batman or a raccoon, this formed a unique sort of mask. And two, it helped the jaws and the teeth to stand out better against the darkness of the inside of the throat. The key word here is contrast. Low contrast things blend in while high contrast things pop and draw the eye. Take a look at these demons from Doom. Look at how their faces and hands and weapons always have the highest contrast. Then look at how they use high contrast lines to pull your eye to those places. This is peak character design. For the Deathclaw, I wanted you to look at the face and at the claws. The forearms are sheathed in gauntlets of black scaled armor, but this black is split by long, pale, high contrast creases. These creases accentuate the long muscles in the forearms, drawing the eye down the arms, through the hands, and into the very tips of the claws. And this brings us to the fifth and most secret aspect of the Deathclaw's design: Floetry. Remember when I said that designs need to be simple to be iconic? Let me show you what I mean. Despite the seeming complexity of these creatures, their underpinning compositions are simple. These lines lead the eye around the form, and they focus our eyes in on the areas that matter. The Mirelurk Kings were given long, sweeping shapes that convey the idea of water-soaked robes. The lines of the super mutants showcase long, sagging, almost taffy-like muscles. Even Alduin, sheathed in rough, pitted metal, has a fundamentally simple, flowing layout that curls like boiling water. Floetry, the strategic use of flowing contours to simplify complex structures into graceful, balanced proportions. Also an English neo-soul musical group from the early aughts. Yes, this is a made-up word, and yes, we'll be dealing primarily with the first definition. Now, I've seen a lot of Deathclaw fan art. Not that kind. Give me one more minute and we'll get to that kind then. But there's one particular artist who I think stands out, and for one particular reason. Divinity has designed a broad range of Deathclaw species, all of which are based on the Fallout 4 version. In their words, the Deathclaw is an irradiated melting pot of genetics. What if this one mutated in the egg? What if this part of the wasteland impacted this one? What if a community adopted one? What if I kept it recognizable while letting it go wild? Each one of these designs is fire. They capture the savagery of the Deathclaw, but they also capture its beauty through Floetry. Just as poetic meter guides the ear, Floetry guides the eye through a composition. And the Deathclaw is beautiful because of its composition. It is composed almost entirely of flowing lines. There are lines that move from the very tip of each horn around the skull, through the eyes, and into the teeth. There are lines that move from the teeth behind those, up through the cheekbones, around the neck, all the way to the back. You can draw a line from its throat, down under the shoulder, around the arm to the elbow. You could drop a quarter into any one of these creases and it would roll up and over and around the creature like a roller coaster. I know this all sounds like a lot, like I'm doing too much, but this is a powerful methodology for the creation of expressive, cohesive designs. I focused on these compositional elements almost as much as I focused on the anatomy itself, because I'm insane. Okay, let's talk about all the Deathclaw porn. The fan art. There's been a lot of coverage of my reaction to this, and to be clear, I am not here to shame anyone. Attraction can be a strange beast, if you pardon the pun. We only need a few of the right cues: a particular smile, a glimpse of someone's neck at the right angle, someone's hand placed on our arm, and suddenly, inexplicably, something switches in our brain and we're attracted. The Deathclaw has a tight bod. It's got a warm-looking, touchable nose, an incredible jawline, lion-like eyes. You know how they say models prowl? The Deathclaw prowls. Beyond that, yeah, I'm mystified. But before any of you start pigpiling in the comments, let me just say that I've met a lot of furries. I'm a creature designer who's very active on social media after all, and they are honestly some of the nicest people you will ever meet. And who am I to claim that I've never been attracted to a horrible monster who wants nothing more than to kill and eat me? I've watched Yellow Jackets, and Shauna, I think I could fix her. Like moths to a flame, attraction is not always healthy. To you, my friends, an important PSA. don't f the Deathclaw. Did you know that Deathclaws were engineered in a lab by scientists whose mission it was to create cold, efficient, bloodthirsty monsters? Yes, the Deathclaws are physically impressive, both hulking and lean. And yes, Deathclaws are intelligent, some say even capable of human speech. But these creatures were bred to dispatch entire platoons, and while they are known to be social animals with strong nuclear families, they are not equipped for physical or emotional intimacy with humans. So please, don't f the Deathclaws. Unless you really, really know what you're doing. If you're still watching, thank you. And I have something for you. Today's gift goes to Natar the Time Dragon, who subscribed and left a wonderful comment on my last video. What is the prize? Well, I'm working with artist James Marsano on a large format 3D print of the Deathclaw for myself, and I'll be covering this project in my next video. If you're interested, let me know. And now Natar the Time Dragon is going to get a smaller version of this exact print. It'll be the only one of its kind in the world, second to mine. For the rest of you, I have this deluxe pen and ink print of the Deathclaw, autographed from me to you, available in my online store. The link is below. And for watching this video, use code WORLDBUILDER at checkout for 25% off. Only subscribers are eligible for gifts, so like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I've got lots more videos like this to choose from and more on the way. I also want to hear from you. I've talked about so much between this video and my last one about Deathclaw design, inspiration, DNA, Floetry, but you have a lot of thoughts. And I've made a lot of art, and I want to answer any questions you have. Did anything here take you by surprise? Is there anything that you think I missed? Do you want to see my Deathclaw print get made and unboxed over here? Do you want to know my real reaction to the Deathclaws in the show? Let me know in the comments. I read all of them, and I look forward to chatting with you there. See you soon.